So here I am on the edge of the mangrove swamp now, back on land, and this is a very common plant that's native to Australia. It's called scurvy weed, and this plant was used by the early settlers to stave off scurvy because it's got vitamin C in it. So you can eat the leaves. Now, one of the problems is that it looks a lot like another plant called wandering Jew, but the difference is that scurvy weed, which is edible, has blue flowers, and wandering Jew, which is not edible, has white flowers. So just remember that. And you can eat the leaves raw or cooked. So we're going to collect some of that to go with our New Zealand spinach, which we'll also be collecting. So we're just going to use a little bit of this, and we'll get some New Zealand spinach to go with it, and then we'll cook it up tonight. And this is a very common plant that grows on the coast. It's called Warangal greens or New Zealand spinach. It grows in Australia and New Zealand, and it's probably the most widespread Australian plant that's been planted overseas. Now, it was eaten by Captain Cook on his first trip to New Zealand and then in Botany Bay, and it's quite a pleasant plant to eat, but you don't really want to eat it raw because it has oxalic acid and other stuff in it, and it will tend to irritate the back of your throat if you eat it raw. If you look at it in the sunlight, you can't really see it here, but it's got almost like salt crystals on it, as if someone sprinkled sugar on the top of it in very small, tiny particles. But what you do is you take the young leaves and the stems, you can eat them as well, and you just cook it. You can saute it or you boil it, and it's a very welcome foraging food. And so we're just going to grab some of this to take with us. The trouble with it is that it actually breaks down into a much smaller amount than what you collect. So make sure you collect a lot more than you think you're going to need. So I'm just going to keep collecting this, and just remember, Warrigal greens, or New Zealand spinach is its name, and I'll put the Latin name on as well. It's very, very useful wild plant and edible. That's the important thing, and it grows in quite large quantities along the coast in Australia and to a certain degree inland as well, and New Zealand. So here we are back at home, and I have just washed the vegetables, the wild food, which consisted of New Zealand spinach and scurvy weed. And let's see what we do next. There we have it, and we've just washed it. This will be the second time I've washed it. We're going to blanch it anyway. That'll take out some of the toxic properties of the New Zealand spinach. And then I think we might fry it with some soy sauce and maybe some ginger. We'll see. So I've washed this, and this is a mix of the New Zealand spinach and the scurvy weed. And I'm just going to blanch them. I don't really need to blanch the scurvy weed because it doesn't really have anything in it that's negative, whereas the New Zealand spinach has the oxalic acid, oxalates. So blanching helps to destroy that, and I'm only going to leave that for about a minute, and then I will fry it all up and see how we go. I don't think most people eat the stems of the scurvy weed, but I'm not fussed about it, so I'll throw it in. And I should point out that these are not necessarily the greatest wild foods under the sun, but they will give you necessary vitamins and minerals and vitamin C. But there are much better plants out there. A lot of people rave about these for some reason, but they're just another green. You know, most people don't rave about salads. And you can use the scurvy weed raw, and you can use some people eat the New Zealand spinach raw, but I find that it irritates the back of my throat. So I think you're better off actually blanching it and frying it. So let's leave that for a minute and come back and fry it when we drain it. So I've blanched that, and now I am just going to chop it up and throw it into the fry pan. And basically there you have it. So all that's left is to try it. There you go. Not dead yet, could happen. But the flavour that has really comes from the oyster sauce I've added. But it's actually not bad as a vegetable. You still get a bit of that kick from the New Zealand spinach. Well, I think I just need to boil that for a bit longer. So just boil it in hot water for a few minutes. I don't think I did it quite long enough. Okay.